Well, yesterday we had two shows for you. Mace, I don't know if that's just the thing we're going to do.
What is it you always say? We're a couple of chatty blankety blanks.
It's true, right?
Yeah. So this thing kind of happens sometimes when you have a lot to say,
Right.
a lot to get off your chest. So,
When the everyday excess falls.
as you hear, an ad, right? So I can
There
see
you
the
go.
chat, so I can see what people are saying out there
Yeah.
as we do this live edition of Orange and Blue today.
Yes, live edition of OBT and bonus for our YouTube viewers coming up a little bit later. I'm so excited when you and I were talking earlier. But let's talk now about one Jarrett Stidham, and can the Broncos quarterback for the last two games of the regular season in 2023 actually work his way into the starting job for week 1 of 2024?
It's very possible. It's very possible. In fact, I'm not a gambling person, but if I were putting down odds, I'd say Jarrett Stidham is the favorite today to be the week 1 starter in 2024.
Wow. What if he wets the bed against the Raiders? Like, is there any way he could lose this job? There's ways he could cement it, right? If we get to see him be sharper this week and we get that air show that we thought, or at least I thought we would see against the Chargers. So there's ways to work into it. Is there ways where they move on from him so much, Mace, that it's even like, let's get rid of Jarrett Stidham?
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said if he wets the bed, craps the bed, however you want to describe it, soiling the sheets. Maybe he didn't go easy on the Pepsi and he goes out there and struggles a little bit. If you know, you know. Yeah, if he goes out there and channels his inner Fuller from Home Alone, that's what we're talking about. But when you're getting into the conversation of the Broncos having a cost-controlled quarterback, likely coming from the NFL draft, the question then becomes, is that quarterback ready to go early on? Jarrett Stidham, for being the week 1 starter and getting an opportunity, the best thing that could happen to him is the Broncos going young and Stidham being a bridge to whoever that quarterback is.
Mm-hmm. And we've got some ideas of who that quarterback could be. Stay tuned for a bonus episode of Orange and Blue today. That's coming up later on. But for now, it's to Stidham. And honestly, Mace, I personally don't believe that Stidham will do anything to really lose this job. Cost-controlled quarterback. Get used to saying it. Get a nickel every time Mace says it. You'll probably be pretty rich by the time August rolls around. But we know Stidham's game. Stidham isn't really going to go out there and wet the bed, so to speak, and then lose his spot with the Broncos. Not just the starting spot, but his spot, period. Honestly, it comes down to whoever they add and then how they feel about them being ready. But Stidham is the guarantee on the box. And Tommy Boy makes you feel good at night, right? You can sleep at night.
You have someone who can hit his marks. I mean, really, Jarrett Stidham's kind of the perfect backup quarterback in a scheme. Knows where to go, knows how to get the ball from A to B. Nothing spectacular. Look, the most spectacular play the Broncos had. A nice job by Jarrett Stidham stepping up. But you could say bigger kudos to Lil Jordan Humphrey, Jerry Jeudy, Michael Burton for making that play into something spectacular, right? We haven't seen from Jarrett Stidham yet as a pro evidence that there is spectacular in him. But that doesn't mean he can't have a long career, maybe even a long career with the Broncos as a backup. And frankly, Cease, that's what he looked like on Sunday, right? He looked like a perfectly capable, to use a Simpsons word, perfectly cromulent backup quarterback, which can keep you in the league a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he can be like comic book guy. Life well lived. Right? Life well spent, I think is what he says, right?
Yes, I think
Chase Daniel, a longtime backup himself, said Sean Payton's offense one of the most complex to get. Mm-hmm. Jarrett Stidham just getting it.
Yeah, it's his first year in this, right? I mean, if you have hope for Jarrett Stidham and where he can go, it's okay. Let's see where he is in year two. Um,
Right.
but I'd say this: what we saw on Sunday, I was encouraged by the lack of giveaways, although two passes could have been intercepted, so there was some risk involved. I'm curious to see how the Raiders attack him on Sunday in the season finale. A team that has a defense that's playing really well at this point and is going to have motivation trying to keep Antonio Pierce as their head coach. So this will be a fascinating game to kind of see where Jarrett Stidham is. Um, and we'll see where he is after this game. But I didn't see anything from Jarrett Stidham in terms of watching that game that said, all right, this is a guy that you're handing the keys to and that's it, right? If it's a situation where either he is competing with somebody else, a veteran, if you bring in another veteran, decide not to draft a quarterback, or, and I think it's more likely, you're drafting a quarterback.
I believe so as well. I want to see Jarrett Stidham with Courtland Sutton, though. You and Rachel talked about it this morning on coffee break. It's like, yeah, Stidham looked okay, kind of looked like Russell Wilson. We'll have some numbers to go over in just a little bit, Mace. Call him up when you want him. Some important conversation from Mark Schlereth as well. We got it for you on this show. But it's like, well, wait a second. What's he look like with Sutton? You know, he's not our number one. Well, he's their best. So I want to see Jarrett Stidham, hopefully this week with Courtland Sutton, because I bet he'll look better.
Is our conversation about the Broncos in the red zone something Sean Payton referenced on Monday? Is that conversation different if Courtland Sutton's out there as a potential target?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, again, you're going up against the Charger team. They had some injuries, although they still had Khalil Mack and they still had Derwin James. You're going up against the Chargers team that's playing out the string, has some injuries. Get all that, right? But the Broncos, when you're without Courtland Sutton and you're without the threat that Marvin Mims provided, they were missing some things as well to them. So I'd say kind of one hand washes the other. I would like to see Jarrett Stidham operating with Courtland Sutton. Honestly, I'd like to see what else that opens up for Jerry Jeudy as well, because if you've got Sutton on the outside and then Judy's running a slant, that plays a little bit more into his strengths, and it also gives him some open territory that maybe he didn't have against the Chargers, who didn't have to worry about Courtland Sutton last Sunday.
Yeah, it gives them some single coverage to go against, because if you're going to bracket anyone or keep a safety's eye on somebody, it's Courtland Sutton. Well, Jerry Jeudy one-on-one with a guy that can throw slants. Yes, please. Could look better for everybody, including Stidham.
Yeah, it could. So we'll see what happens, but I would say based on that game in general, Jarrett Stidham is who we thought he was, to quote the late Dennis Green.
We let him off the hook.
Yeah, and that's fine. Again, as a backup quarterback, nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all.
Nothing wrong with that.
Let's take a look at the numbers. Kind of comparing. That's Wilson over the course of the year. That's Stidham, of course, reflecting what he did. The passer rating, of course, is kind of reflective of relatively base level numbers. You're talking about completion percentage, interception rate, touchdown rate, yardage per attempt. Wilson's got a good passer rating. There's no doubt about that. That those who are coming out against him being benched, they'll cite the passer rating. The QBR, right. Now on QBR, 50 is average. So Russell Wilson, that reflects what he is. It was a very average year for Russell Wilson on balance. And I think when you watched the film over the course of the year and you studied it, that's what you saw, was a pretty average quarterback. The problem is the Broncos aren't paying for average. $37 million add on to the $85 million coming up in commitments over the next 2 years. That's not average pay, but they're getting average results. Stidham's QBR, 31.3. Part of that, I think, reflects the level of competition that you had against the Chargers on Sunday. Now, this is an interesting one there. EPA, expected points added per play. That is most interesting. That is the one that favors Jarrett Stidham, and I wonder if statistically that is the one of which Sean Payton is taking the most note. Yes,
and that might be the one that he's taken the most note on, because Payton seems happy-ish. He was happy with your question about Jaleel McLaughlin. We played that. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, he's probably excited about doing more of the things that he wants to do. And you can see advanced data. Sometimes stats lie, but sometimes they tell you a truth that maybe you're not willing to accept. And perhaps Sean Payton is looking at EPA per play and thinking, okay, this is on the right track.
Yeah, I think so. And I think also he looks at some of the near misses. We talk about Jerry Jeudy, a couple passes behind Jerry Jeudy. You get the timing right on that. It's a little bit different. You look at the false starts there and goal to go. You even get one of them taken off the board. Maybe you're talking about a touchdown when Brandon Johnson runs that slant route on 2nd and goal that got him back to the 1 yard line. Right there, I can see why Sean Payton would be pleased. The other thing is, when your touchdown pass in the game has a great individual effort, but involves a pass between the numbers 10 to 20 yards down the field, congratulations. That's the pass that was not happening with Russell Wilson at all. And I can't help but wonder if that came up when they were doing the film review Monday morning when they got into the office, saying, oh, look at where that ball went. Look at where that was if we check out the old heat map, right? The heat map looked much more like what we have come to expect from Sean Payton guided offenses than what we saw this year, which I think then also says Sean Payton did modify things for Russell Wilson. I think there's a narrative out there that says he didn't try to, adapt to what Wilson did. I'd say you got 15 games of evidence and game plans and where the ball was going that shows that he did.
He did. And then he was back to doing what he wanted to do, that heat map, looking like the Predator out there. You just need better completions, better pass placement from Jarrett Stidham. We'll see if we can get that. The Schlereth and Evans clip is quite interesting, Mace. And it's always fun when we get to hear from Mark Schlereth, right? I could hear Mark Schlereth read the phone book, and I'd be like, do it again, Stink. But, of course, I'm a Mark Schlereth fanboy. But let's set this up about Mark Schlereth talking about this Broncos offense. What did you want to say before I play the clip?
Well, I think this goes hand in hand with what Sean Payton was saying. Schlereth, I think, says it in a bit blunter fashion. Although he does get one thing wrong. He does mention Stidham getting sacked once. It was actually twice because, of course, there was the butt sack where he bumped into Ben Powers, who was pushed back by Khalil Mack with that really strong bull rush, and he went down. But despite missing that detail, I think the general guts of what he's saying are pretty reflective of where Sean Payton is as well. Remember, Mark Schlereth, NFL on Fox broadcaster, so he's in production meetings with coaches, including Sean Payton. So this is what he has said. I think, even though it may not be what people want to hear in the public, you think he's got a pretty good finger on the pulse of what's going on.
Here's that beautiful bean footage.
I will guarantee you one thing. If Russ would have played in that game, he'd have taken 7 sacks.
As opposed to, I think, the 2 that they took?
I think he took 1 sack in that game. I thought Stidham operationally was much better, and then pocket awareness. And here's the crazy thing. We're sitting here pissing and moaning, and we got a fan base of, like I said, chicken littles out there that are all, oh my gosh, oh, it was so much better, the sarcasm. Dude started, 3 games versus 12 years of starting, and he was better operationally. He was better pocket awareness-wise, and plus, Jerry Jeudy dropped a couple in the first quarter. You had Troutman drop 1. I think Johnson dropped 1 as well. Listen, man, put the ball where it was supposed to go. Avoided sacks. That in and of itself right there, just that aspect, the operational aspect, was much better under Stidham than it has been under Russ. Sorry.
Well, he did say the Jeudy drops, and I have to say that the culpability on the drops was also...
Yeah, that's on Stidham.
Yes. Yeah. He didn't put it out in front, he put it behind Jeudy. Those were... Jeudy will say, yeah, I should have made that catch, but those weren't easy catches to make.
No, not for anybody. He did mention the Dorsett play down the left sideline. Like, okay, there's another one. But yeah, I mean, Stink, I had a dog. His name was Bingo. It's right on the money, man. That's right.
There was a farmer who had a dog in Bingo.
It's right on the money, man.
Yeah. Uncomfortable truths, right?
Yeah.
About the quarterback position.
But operationally, if your guy is following your plan, you can live with it for a time being. Now, how long can you live with it? That's the question.
Yeah, there's a ceiling there to this, and I think that's part of what we saw. And we also look. This is Jarrett Stidham's 5th year in the league. It's only his 3rd start, but it's his 5th year. If we were talking about somebody who really could be a long-term starting quarterback, unless you're talking about an outlier situation like Geno Smith in Seattle, that ability, that potential success would have availed itself by now, would it have not?
Yes.
So, especially in New England, where remember Tom Brady retired, and so 2020, 2021, there was an opening for somebody to step in, right? 2020 especially, because Cam Newton was struggling. Stidham got a brief shot that year, and by the way, 2020, most favorable environment for quarterbacks in NFL history because it was the COVID year, and there were hardly any fans to no fans in the stands, so you didn't have to deal with crowd noise. You didn't have to adjust anything pre-snap in the way you normally do when you go on the road, right? And he still struggled with his opportunity then as well. So this is, Jarrett Stidham is who he is, and that's fine. Perfectly functional backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: you got in the end relatively comparable play from a backup quarterback compared to the guy that you gave to whom you gave the big contract in Russell Wilson. That, I think, is the key aspect of all this in terms of the Broncos' decision-making. It didn't look better, but did it look appreciably worse than it had? Not really.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, Jarrett Stidham played like a backup. Yeah, but so did Russell Wilson. And? Littering and?
Mid-tier.
Speaking of which, I know you're not a gambling guy, but I did get an email. We get emails from a lot of, sources, right? Websites, whatever. Have you seen the odds for Russell Wilson's next landing spot? Have you seen this?
No.
I'll figure out how to do screen share on StreamYard. I know you can do it. But I will watch your eyes as you react to this. The number 1 team that Vegas thinks the odds are for Russell Wilson is New England.
Ha!
20% odds. Atlanta is 16.7. Washington Commanders, that's old news, 14.3. Pittsburgh Steelers is 10. Minnesota Vikings is 10. Las Vegas Raiders is 9.1. And others / stay with the Broncos is also 20%.
Wait, what's other? Retirement?
Maybe. Yeah, or other teams, right? Other teams.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's 20% to come back to the Broncos. I mean,
no.
That's
100%.
Yeah. After that media availability last Friday, the meme of Homer Simpson taking the match, the lit match, and tossing it behind him on the bridge and burning it up. I think I mentioned that this morning as well with Rachel V. Hill on Coffee Break. That's what happened when he went off, and he actually went on record about the threat, they threatened to bench him and all that. That was, that was probably like taking a blowtorch and just burning up the bridge. I'd say the chances of him being back with the Broncos next year, they are 5%. And I'd say the 5% depends on week 18 because he's still going to be the backup. So if Jarrett Stidham gets injured and Russell Wilson goes in and he gets injured, oh my God. Can you imagine what this show is going to be like on Monday? Okay, you're watching out there.
Shows on Monday.
Yeah, live audience. Tell us right now. If Stidham gets injured, Wilson goes out there, he gets injured, and the Broncos are on the hook for the injury guarantee, which basically means they're going to have to find a way to mend fences. How is everybody going to feel? Oh my gosh. That would be absolutely wild. Not good, but wild.
Wild indeed. So we're not done yet. We are not done yet, Andrew Mason. But we did have a nice conversation about Jarrett Stidham. But do you want to tease our second show? Our second show will be up around 7 p.m. tonight on YouTube. YouTube exclusive bonus episode of Orange Blue Today. Shall we give them some tea and tease them a little bit?
Yeah, I'll give this tease. It's the first of many such shows that are going to be coming your way in all likelihood over the next few months, focused on draft quarterbacks. Which one? You're fixing to find out. Just join us tonight.
Join us tonight. YouTube right here, denversports.com. Help us grow our YouTube channel. You can like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. I like how you say it along with me now, Mace.
It's almost like I hear it in my sleep sometimes,
Exactly,
you know.
Exactly. Wait a second, I wake up. Did I like the last video? Did I comment on it?
Share, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Well, and I've noticed also, Mace, like we're jumping in the comments too. Like that's what you comment down below. You want to talk to us?
Yes.
Twitter's a cesspool. It always has been. But trust me, YouTube comments can be unkind, but just come talk to us, baby. Like we want to talk to you in the comments, right? Community thread here on YouTube. It's what we do.
Can't spell community without unity.
Unity.
Let's have a little unity. Although here's the thing with draft quarterbacks, and I noticed this last night on social media and the way the discussion was going, there's not going to be a lot of unity, I think, among Broncos fans as this debate goes on. Hopefully, whenever they get a quarterback, if they do draft a quarterback, people get behind that quarterback.
Yeah, I believe once the decision is made, people will get behind. But just look at our chat room full of awesome people. They are all going with different guys. So, yeah, tune in tonight.
Yep, let's see. I see one. I see another. I see another. There's actually, one name I haven't seen that I'm kind of glad I didn't see. There's a new name jumping in right now. Joe Brewer with a name in.
Ooh, nice, Joe. Way to go, Joe. I got it right there. Pratt from Tulane. There we go.
We'll see
He'll
him
make
at
the show.
We'll see him at the Senior Bowl as of like right now. By the way, Jim Nagy last night did tweet out about Michael Penix Jr. being at the Senior Bowl, even though he hasn't formally committed yet. So I thought that was really interesting. There are 3 open QB slots at the Senior Bowl right now. So you can kind of figure who those probably are going to be, right? Because I don't think we'll see Caleb Williams or Drake May, the top 2 quarterbacks. But I think we can figure out that the 3 remaining slots are going to be some combination of Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., J.J. McCarthy. And yes, they could get in all 4 because as we saw in 2018, they have had years where there have been 8 quarterbacks in Senior Bowl week. So here we go.
And here we go. I will tease something myself, Mace, as now we'll wrap up this show. I think we're starting with their favorite.
I do too.
All right. We'll talk to you tonight. He's Andrew Mason. Follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey. OBT is ABFD, and we appreciate you all. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty.